nice to kind of travel down to Cumbernauld, which is, I don't know, maybe half an hour drive in the car down to the film studios and to work there. And obviously we filmed at different locations throughout Scotland. I'm not saying I wouldn't have liked to have went to LA to film it if the studios were filming it in LA. That'd be nice as well. But it was nice to come home at the end of a long day and sleep in your own bed as opposed to being. We did the war movie. We did that in Jordan, and we were in a hotel for 6 weeks, which kind of, it's nice to have your own bed. So as much as the hotel is very nice, sometimes it's nice to be in your own bed.
Yeah. And of course, it opened up more doors for you. You've done the films you mentioned, haven't you? Presumably since Outlander. Yeah.
Outlander, as I said, that the following on the social media alone was over 500,000 just on my personal Twitter. So that's been phenomenal. And as I say, I've ran Cayley nights in Scotland, and Outlander fans have travelled all over the world to come to the events that I've run. I've run events in Canada. We ran a big Cayley night in Canada and Florida. And we've been invited to Germany and France and all over the world to Comic-Cons and conventions as well to meet the fans, which has been fantastic as well. And something I don't think you quite, when you set out to do, when I went to college, it wasn't to be in a big TV show, and it was to try and improve my life and improve my opportunities. And that's exactly what it's done. Acting's been fantastic in terms of improving the opportunities. Lots of life learning, some amazing people I've met over the years. Worked with some amazing, big stars and stuff, kind of Oscar winners and BAFTA winners. It's been incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you. That's great. Yeah. I was just thinking about acting as a sort of an industry. Is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I was just thinking about how can someone get into it? So we'll get into the acting.
Well, as I shared earlier on, when I was at college, I've seen a lot of actors going to studying for 3 years and then graduating, and they couldn't get in. It's very hard to break in. If you imagine, there's universities and colleges churning out new actors all the time. I remember reading a Harrison Ford quote, and he said, "You have to outlast the people you come in on the bus with." And I think there's a lot of truth in that. Is that acting is as much about what you're doing when you're not acting, I think, as it is when you are acting. Because my friend Umar is a fellow actor, and he describes it as acting as a succession of jobs. It's not a career; it's a succession of jobs, and I quite like that. That you go from one project. Like I did it in the Angels Share. You're a movie star. You're in the movie. You go to the red carpet, and in the next week, you don't have a job. So what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to spend it? And then so I create my own work. That's my own production company. I do my own things that fills the gaps in between movies and TV and theatre shows. So I think that's really important. And as I said to you guys, I think creating your own work is really important, and being able to produce and put on your own things. Because if you want to be seen in things, sometimes you have to create your own opportunities.
Wow. Yeah, just to say that I've just been on a holiday with the family, particularly took our my granddaughters, and Lucy. It was her 21st birthday out there a couple of weeks ago, or last week, in fact. And we went. She was desperate to see Hamilton on stage on Broadway, which we did, and was a real experience. She's just finished 4 years of college, performing arts, and she's in September. She's going to uni in Chichester, actually, to study a 3-year BA honours course in performing arts. I forget the whole title. And she's had some auditions and she's got into 1 or 2, but she's very desperately keen. One thing I would just ask you about, as to your opinion, one of the places she wanted to go, actually, we went there on her birthday in New York, was a place called Stardust. And it's a restaurant. I don't know whether it's a restaurant chain, but basically they only hire singers, would-be actors, singers, music people. And it was brilliant. It's like a 2-level restaurant, huge queues, lines of people outside, of which we were out there initially. But the waiters and waitresses, every so often, one of them comes onto the tables and they start singing. They take the mic. It's like an open mic night, really, with a good track backing them. But the quality was really up there with the West End in London or Broadway. It was quite superb, and they are only hired if they are good enough to be hired for something like that. And there's a long waiting list of would-be actors and musicians. to join them. Is that something you've ever experienced or heard about, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got lots of actor friends that do different jobs. You know, kind of. Yeah, a lot of people are musicians. They play music. They teach. A lot of actors do teaching. I do a bit of teaching myself. So there's a lot of other avenues that come out of it. And some people want to do very, very well in those pursuits, you know, whether it be, as I say, teaching or online things, or a lot of people work on the cruise ships and entertain on the cruise ships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the joy of it is it's how you choose to do it, what you like to do it. But my kind of job outside of acting, I like to work in the theatres, because that's the industry. I like to be supporting them, and if I can make the theatres better, there's more chance for actors to get jobs, including myself. So that's what I like to do. So I've managed a theatre for 5 years. I've been the programme manager for the 8 different theatres over the years, and that's booking in the shows and speaking to the producers, negotiating the deals and stuff. And that's something I really enjoy doing. And it's nice to bring shows to local towns that wouldn't maybe normally be coming to those areas. But yeah, everybody's got something else that they put their talent towards and their drive towards while they're waiting on the phone call from Spielberg.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody is.
So what would be your best, say for instance, somebody wanted to offer you an acting job, what would be the one that you'd be most excited about? What sort of category would you be?
I don't know. I'm quite an inspired person, and I like the idea that some of the stuff I've seen that's inspired me is inspirational. I'd like to maybe make stuff like that. So I quite like doing public speaking. I like sharing my story. So anything that would maybe be uplifting. I love watching a lot of the movies that are based on true life. One that comes to mind now is the Freedom Writers movie, which is a true story, and it's about a high school teacher. Those are the sort of or Coach Carter. I don't know if you know the movie with Samuel Jackson of Coach Carter. It's another true story. Stuff like that I like watching. So I'd maybe like to do something like that. But I think everybody's got a different philosophy and outlay and what their belief system. I'm a big, I believe in a higher power looking out for me and steering me in the right direction. So I don't watch anything on the TV or the films and think, I wish that was me. I trust that I'm on the right path. I'm going in the right direction, and the opportunities that I'm going to get are already laid out. And I trust that I'll get the right roles for me. I've got to be really honest. When I look back at my CV and the movies that I've been in and the TV shows and the stage shows, I'm really proud of everything I've done. There's nothing on there I think, oh, that's a stinker. I wish I hadn't done that. There's no movies out there, and I hold my head in my hands and go, oh, I don't want to be in that movie. I'm very proud of all the work, so I think that's a blessing. But I think that's also down to being able to make choices, being in a position to make choices, as opposed to just being desperate to do anything. I love storytelling, but I know there's certain stories I want to tell, and certain stories I'm great at telling, and other ones that stretch me, and other ones I wouldn't want to tell. There's certain stuff that doesn't really I don't like slasher movies or anything. Stuff like that's not really my cup of tea. I like inspirational and positive stuff, things that make you feel good. I like a Tom Cruise movie, that sort of thing. That you come out the cinema and you're high fiving and want to go and
You mentioned the slasher movie, and it's not the best thing to ask you about, but I did notice you were attacked once, you in a fight or something, and it could have killed you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that was when I was very young. So growing up in Glasgow, I cover this in my book. So I've been writing a book for 5 years.
That when we come back, is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna